I am John Otway. The John Otway. I decided I was going to be a pop star when I was 9 years old.
Have the hits and play places like Bath Moles. And I came from Aylesbury, and the hits and Bath Moles seemed a long way away.
Moles Club, Bath, I must have played it about 8 or 9 times. But I was trying to work it out, and I think it's about 14 years since I last played here. And I think the last time I played here was the first gig I did with my guitarist, Richard.
What's interesting is that when I went with Richard, my guitarist, I was never allowed to have a fuzz pedal on stage. And I never knew why until I got one. And the reason is, what would have happened if I'd have had a fuzz box? People would have got confused between whose guitar playing it was. And Richard didn't want that confusion. And a lot of things I actually mistook for talent weren't talent at all, just careful use of the fuzz box. And it was really weird. I used to watch Richard every night getting this huge applause for his heavy metal things, and all he was doing was using the fuzz box. So there's no reason why I can't get the same sort of applause.
Yeah, the fans have been somewhat amazing, and have sort of like kept me going and enabled me really to have this sort of like 30 years without a sensible day's work. My mum always thought at some point I would have to get a proper job, and it's quite nice. She's still around, she's 86 now. It's quite nice for her to see me not doing a proper job.
You can always see the ones that come for the good music, because you can see them. They didn't smile. You can see what they were thinking. They were just thinking, well, that's just bloody stupid. And what always got me about that was, I kept thinking, if they think, well, that's bloody stupid, what are they going to make of the next song?
Coming out to my 50th birthday, the fans got together to give me a hit for my 50th birthday. And what we did was we booked the London Palladium for the night the chart came out. And it was great. Right up to that gig, nobody knew whether they were going to go to a celebration or a wake. And there's a pub in Argyle Street outside the London Palladium. And there was one transistor radio with like 400 fans gathered around it to hear what chart position we got. And that was just astonishing. There was this huge, great cheer went up when number 11 was announced, because it meant we got the top 10. And that was an extraordinary night. Sold out London Palladium. First time as a top 10 pop star. It's great.
Here's something you're never going to forget.
Yeah, the show is still very physical. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to sort of slow up, but not yet. Still managing to get away with it. Yes, which didn't work, and I'm about to write a book on just how badly it didn't work. It's quite extraordinary. It was like a £1.1 million project, and it was working very well. The idea was you charter a large jet and fly around the world with your fans, and I thought we'd have about 300 fans happy to pay £4,000 to fly around the world with me. And it's great, because if you've got your own jet, you can basically go wherever you want to around the world, and that's what we were going to do. And it was a very difficult project, because there was a lot involved with it, but basically up until 4 weeks before we were due to set off, it was all on. And then this gap appeared in the budget of £80,000, which we couldn't fill. And the most horrendous thing about that was the world tour ended up being one date in a cavern in Liverpool, and the whole audience were immunised against malaria. I wrote a book in 1988 called Rock and Roll's Greatest Failure, and a lot of people said that, after sort of like doing things like, the Albert Hall and having the top 10 hit, you could never ever be rock and roll's greatest failure again. And by taking on a project of this magnitude and failing so abjectly, I think I probably can.
Ready? For the festival. For the festival. It's only once a year. in the air and fill the barrels full of beer.
Well, this year, because it is the 30th anniversary of my first hit, I've put together a best of. Most acts, because they don't have such a long career, can get their best of onto one CD. But because I've actually averaged like one reasonable song a year, there's actually 30 tracks. So what we've done is we put them together, the John Otway, the ultimate and penultimate, the best of and second best of John Otway in one package. And they have to be in one package, otherwise the best of would probably sell a little bit better than the second best of. I do notice that as you walk in, there is a mole's board of fame of all the famous people that have played here. And I was delighted that, as well as people like Oasis, Otway's there as well. It's very nice of you. I hope you didn't just paint it on very quickly before I arrived.
Thank you very, very much. And I won't leave you 15 years till I come back. Thank you very much.
Later this year I'm doing an acrostic tour, right? And an acrostic is when something spells something down as well as a cross. So we're doing Oxford, Tavistock, Wye Valley, Alston and York, right? So it spells Otway on the way down and looks good on the T-shirts. And we're doing that between the 5th and 10th of December, and taking a luxury coach, a load of fans round with us and staying in luxury hotels. So if you want to come on the acrostic tour with us, I think it stands a better chance of coming off than the plane did.